In 1974, the film opens with the introduction of Marty Bronson, a man with 2 children who runs the Sunny Vista Motel. His 12-year-old daughter Wendy, who is very serious-minded and runs the front desk efficiently, is also introduced. Skeeter, the son, who is 10 years old, is employed as a porter. Night after night, Skeeter never fails to disappoint. In order to get them to sleep, Marty reads them some stories. Marty is a decent host and hotelier, but he appears to be a terrible businessman because he has a lot of money problems and comes dangerously close to bankruptcy. Consequently, he has no choice but to sell the motel to Barry Nottingham, the CEO and founder of the Nottingham Hotels hotel chain, before the deal can be finalized. After some back and forth, Marty and Barry settle on Skeeter taking over the company when he's older. That is going to be utterly botched by Skeeter. This film. In the future, after a few years, Barry transforms this modest family business into a 5-star hotel in Nottingham called Sunny West. But since Barry apparently forgot his word, Skeeter is stuck fixing the hotel's handrails. It's the correct thing to do, Barry. In a social setting, Barry reveals his intention to demolish the current hotel and construct a new, bigger one called Sunny Vista Mega Nottingham. In light of the fact that Kendall is seeing Violet, Barry's daughter, he chooses Kendall Duncan to be the future manager. For his niece's birthday, Skeeter pays a visit to his sister Wendy's house after work. Wendy went through a divorce in the 4 years that have passed, and it appears that the siblings have not seen each other since. Welcome, Patrick and Bobby. Skeeter gives Bobby a gift basket full of hotel essentials as a token of his appreciation. However, Patrick was left out. Wendy then summons Skeeter to meet her outside for a discreet conversation. She reveals that she is being forced to travel to Arizona for job interviews due to the closure of the school where she serves as principal. Because of this, she asks Skeeter to babysit her kids for a couple of days. Skeeter refuses at first because he's not very useful, but he agrees after finding out that Jill, Wendy's co-teacher, will be working the day shift in the hotel kitchen the following day. Mickey, Skeeter's best friend, interrogates him about his lack of resistance to leaving the new hotel. Additionally, Mickey cautions Skeeter that Kendall has the potential to strip him of everything he owns. Joe calls Skeeter at that very moment to remind him of his babysitting shift that night. Jill is leaving, and Skeeter, who had nearly forgotten about it, runs home in a panic. Even though Skeeter puts the kids to bed, they insist on reading a bedtime story before he leaves. He responds by perusing the stacks of storybooks on the shelf, but he is disappointed by all of them. Therefore, in his improvised story, he chooses to write his own narrative. A poor peasant in a fantasy world of the Middle Ages who is unjustly passed over for a promotion, he frequently assumes the role of Sir Fix. Butkus, a fictional character who stands in for Kendall, is adored by the kingdom. Mickey also appears as Friar Fred, one of the story's other characters. The kids were odorous and unclean, and Jill was their mermaid instructor. The children embellish the story with their own ideas at various points, such as when the king gives Sir Fix several opportunities to show his worth. Finally, a deluge of gumballs as a surprise. Plenty of balls and success. The world is Skeeter's oyster. While making breakfast for the kids the next morning, Skeeter gets a call from Barry's assistant asking him to come fix Barry's TV. Because he can't bear to part with the kids, he brings them with him to the hotel. He finds Violet there and asks her to watch the kids as he fixes her father's TV. After that, he makes his way to the upper floor, where he finds Barry sitting in the dark. As Skeeter switches on the light to fix the TV, Barry scolds him for thinking germs grow in bright light. When Skeeter brings up the new hotel in an attempt to start a discussion, Barry pulls out a hidden theme. Move to the rhythm. Another hotel already has that theme, Skeeter says. Upon hearing this, after scolding Kendall, Barry summons him inside. He is now giving Skeeter an opportunity to show his worth. In exchange for his better theme suggestion, he will employ him to manage the new hotel, taking Kendall's position. Skeeter Balls is saying that he has a theme for you. At the same time, Jill shows up at the hotel to collect Bobby and Patrick for school. After some time has passed, Skeeter is on his way home when a deluge of gumballs pelts him from above. It was really caused by a gumball truck accident on an overpass. Even though Skeeter writes it off as a coincidence, the bedtime story from earlier appears to have come true in a miraculous way. The kids are dropped off by Jill at Skeeter's hotel room that night so he can work the night shift. Inquiring if anything out of the ordinary has happened to the kids, he even shows them some gumballs before she leaves. Unfortunately, the younger generation fails to grasp his point. "Dad, you need to cut the BS about balls. Something is off." Mickey then arrives with a plate of mouth-watering hamburgers, and they head out to dinner. The first-time hamburger eaters among the children are raving about how good they are. But since their mom forbids them to eat junk food in the hours leading up to bedtime, they opt not to tell her. A new story, with a Western theme, is concocted by Skeeter. Throughout the story, he fantasizes about being a successful cowboy who needs a new horse. To find the best horse, he approaches a Native American chief. Finally, a flamboyant crimson horse named Ferrari emerges. The chief unexpectedly gives him this pricey horse at no cost, shocking the cowboys. Skeeter wishes the story could end right now, but the kids aren't happy, so they all go and plant more seeds. The cowboy sees a helpless damsel and rescues her from multiple bad guys later on in the story. An enraged dwarf kicks the cowboy just as he is about to receive his reward, cash. The chair has been occupied by David Lynch. At this point in the story, the children are ready to go to sleep for the night. Skeeter goes to a Ferrari dealership and looks at a red vehicle. At that very moment, a Native American guy approaches him. Since Skeeter thinks his story is actually happening, he is overjoyed to see him. In this situation, Skeeter runs the risk of coming across as racist. Still, he loses his wallet to the man's cunning scheme. Let down. Violet is encircled by paparazzi as Skeeter drives home. He rushes over to protect the girl and frightens off the nosy photographers. Violet is on the verge of planting a kiss on his cheek, just like in the story. But the moment is ruined by an enraged dwarf. After Violet makes up her mind to depart, Skeeter spots her red Ferrari. She drives away, leaving him standing there, but he thinks it's for him. Because of this, he comes to the realization that the stories only in the children's books actually come to life. The following morning, Jill comes to the hotel to collect the children for school. Kendall walks up to Skeeter shortly after they depart and brings up the topic of the maintenance. In addition, he warns him not to mess with Violet, saying that their relationship will never be what Skeeter envisions it to be. Skeeter tells him to watch his tone since he plans to keep Kendall on staff at the new hotel. As night falls, Jill leaves the children at the hotel. Next, Skeeter takes them to the hotel's rooftop, where they can unwind in the picturesque setting. During their conversation, the kids wonder aloud whether their dad will come back. Skeeter promises that he, along with their mother Jill, will be there for them no matter what, but he doesn't know the answer to this. After telling the kids goodnight, Jill departs, and they all smile. Skeeter attempts to convince the kids to enter the hotel theme contest during bedtime stories, but they're more into stories with action and romance. Skeeter starts making up a story about himself as an adventurous charioteer stuntman in classical Greece, having done some spectacular stunts in the enormous arena. He gets to go on a date with the most beautiful girl in the country. The girls at the restaurant are envious of the stuntman's beautiful bride because of Bobby's addition of a scene involving the two of them. In Patrick's expanded version of events, the two protagonists are out for a stroll along the beach when they stumble upon a man who has passed out on the shore. In order to save the man's life, the stuntman kicks him and then releases a fish that was stuck in his throat. The two take refuge in a cave, where they find Abraham Lincoln, as the rain begins to fall. Skeeter becomes agitated upon hearing this because their story is nonsensical. Please return to the section where I am getting into bed, children. But the children pay him no mind and fall asleep anyway. The next day, while Skeeter is relaxing on the beach, Violet calls him. As she leaves for Sin City, he realizes he was mistaken about her being the story's fairest maiden. Jill, who is on her way to the beach after dropping the kids off at school, is walking by when he runs into her. They went to the same restaurant as in the story when she invited him to lunch. A gang of girls who think Jill is stunning approach them. Following this, while strolling along the beach with Jill, Skeeter finds a man who is unconscious. True to form, Skeeter rescues the man's life. They take cover under a dock as the rain comes down suddenly. Skeeter realizes that Jill is the most beautiful woman he has ever seen, and he begins to develop strong feelings for her. But right before they kiss, he remembers the part about Abraham Lincoln. Skeeter docks in case something out of the ordinary happens. Just a few seconds after that, a penny slips through the dock. Jill finds this amusing and proceeds to walk away. Next night, Mickey approaches Skeeter to discuss the strategy for tomorrow's business presentation. That depends on the bedtime story for today, Skeeter says. Since Wendy is coming back the following day, Scooter spends his last night with the kids. In Skeeter's final story, set in space, his character fights Kendall's character for control of the planet. Patrick wants Skeeter to act like an extraterrestrial with a translator by his side because they're in space. Skeeter's character comes out on top after a fierce duel. Following his outburst, he tries to bring the story to a close here, thinking it's perfect. Still not satisfied, the children decide to have a fireball destroy Skeeter's character. Skeeter becomes terrified and begs the children to change the ending, but they nod off. Kendall tells Jill the bad news during a visit to Wendy's school the following morning. He says that the Sunny Vista Mega Nottingham is going to be built on the site of their school, which is why it is closing. Joe is obviously upset by this, but she feels helpless to change his mind. Later that night, Skeeter gets in his car and heads to Barry's birthday celebration, where he plans to unveil his latest theme concept. However, prior to, he picks up some firefighting supplies at a convenience store on the way there. Skeeter finds out that there will be flames and a Hawaiian theme at Barry's house. This is why he decides to handle the fire with extreme caution. A little while after that, Skeeter eats some ice cream without realizing it contains bees. Consequently, the bee stings his tongue, obstructing his speech. The presentation then starts, with Kendall taking the stage to introduce his latest Broadway theme. And then Scooter's turn will come. He begins to utter nonsense. Luckily, Mickey is available to provide translation services. Barry seems moved by Skeeter's moving speech and ultimately appoints him as the new manager after hearing both presentations. After some time has passed, Kendall approaches Skeeter to praise his bravery in demolishing his niece and nephew's school in favor of the hotel. After hearing this, Skeeter rushes to confront Barry. But when the party begins to sing his birthday song, the elderly man shrugs it off. Skeeter gets overly worried about fires shortly after the cake arrives, so he uses a fire extinguisher to put out Barry's sparklers. After this, Barry becomes extremely angry and dismisses him from the hotel. After much confusion, Skeeter understands the children's meaning in this story. To make it clear that he was unaware of the hotel's location, Skeeter meets Jill at the school the next day. But she warns him not to offer excuses and then leaves. Wendy later walks in on Skeeter, who is at his place looking downcast. Also, she's furious with him. Not because her school was shut down, but because he instilled in her kids the idea that not everything has a happy ending. The optimism he's had since he was a little boy should not be shattered, Wendy tells him. His realization that he must do something out of the ordinary to alter the course of events occurs to him after she leaves. Jill follows Barry as he visits the zoning commissioner's office in the following scene, begging him to change his mind. The school's demolition is imminent, and Kendall is busy getting everything ready at the school. When Barry goes to the commissioner's office, he finds Skeeter there. Skeeter has successfully gotten the commissioner to stop approving the demolition of the school. Because of this, Barry becomes extremely angry. However, Skeeter has a different site in mind for the new hotel that overlooks the beach. This instantly lifts Barry's spirits because he finds the place even more enticing. It would be so much simpler if only. Skeeter just fixed everything, which shocked Jill. But just as they are about to share a passionate kiss, Barry steps in and says he can't because demolition is starting in 13 minutes. Contact Kendall. Realizing time is of the essence. Following a wild motorcycle ride, the two of them rush towards the school, having stolen a motorbike. They get there right before the demolition starts. After announcing the new hotel's location, Skeeter clarifies that the school will stay put. With the exception of Kendall, this makes everyone happy. With all the pieces returned to their proper locations. The aftermath culminates in Skeeter and Jill sharing a passionate kiss. Kendall is demoted to the position of motel staff when Skeeter marries Jill and opens a motel named after his father. However, Violet weds Mickey, and the two of them run Barry's business empire. Become a subscriber to watch similar videos. Assist the channel out by turning on notifications and leaving like. Much obliged for your time.